When we look back on American pop music, few voices capture the spirit of a generation better than Brian Wilson. Born on June 20th, 1942, in Hawthorne, California, he grew up in a modest home where music was always playing, church hymns, big band standards, and the beginnings of rock and roll. Even as a child, Brian was shy, quiet, and deeply sensitive to sound. He spent hours harmonizing with his family, his mother's piano teaching him the art of melody before he even knew what he wanted to do with his life. This early immersion in diverse musical forms, from the spiritual solace of hymns to the rhythmic complexity of big band, laid a rich, subconscious foundation for the innovative sounds he would later create. His sensitivity, a trait that would both fuel his genius and contribute to his struggles, was evident from these formative years, allowing him to perceive and process sound with an intensity far beyond the ordinary. As a teenager, he fell in love with the tight harmonies of vocal groups like the Four Freshmen and the dreamlike orchestral grandeur of Phil Spector's revolutionary Wall of Sound. These influences were not merely admired, they were absorbed, dissected, and then reassembled within Brian's fertile mind, forming the bedrock of his unique production style. With his younger brothers Dennis and Carl, their cousin Mike Love, and friend Al Jardine, Brian formed a band that would come to define summer itself. The Beach Boys began in 1961 as a group of Southern California surfers singing about sun, surf, and endless summer days, an image of carefree youth that perfectly captured the burgeoning California dream. But from the outset, Brian's musical imagination was far more expansive than the simple sun-drenched narratives of their early hits. He saw beyond the immediate commercial appeal, envisioning a sonic landscape that could express a far wider range of human emotions and experiences, transforming what began as novelty into profound artistry. He was the undisputed genius behind their early, seemingly simple hits, Surfin' Safari, Surfin' USA, and Fun, Fun, Fun. But his ambition went deeper than catchy, carefree surf tunes. He saw pop music not just as entertainment, but as a vast, unexplored canvas, a way to paint the intricate emotional textures of youth, longing, introspection, and the bittersweet passage into adulthood. At just 21, a remarkably young age for such profound impact, Brian Wilson wrote "I Get Around," and it became the group's fourth #1 hit in less than 2 years. This rapid ascent was a testament to his extraordinary ability to channel the electric optimism and boundless energy of the early rock and roll era into perfectly crafted, universally appealing pop anthems. His melodic instincts were unparalleled, and his knack for arranging harmonies was already setting the Beach Boys apart from their contemporaries, hinting at the depths yet to be explored. But success rarely comes without its complexities, and for Brian Wilson, it brought an intensifying internal struggle. By the mid-60s, the incessant demands of touring, the repetitive nature of stage performance, and the sheer volume of output required by the music industry began to overwhelm his sensitive nature. He yearned for a deeper artistic expression, a level of sophistication in the studio that simply could not be replicated on the road. The chaotic environment of touring exacerbated his already fragile mental state, leading to moments of profound anxiety. Recognizing this, he made a pivotal decision. He stopped touring with the group and dedicated himself entirely to the intricate, painstaking processes of songwriting and studio production. This shift would prove to be revolutionary, liberating him to push the boundaries of pop music, unencumbered by the grind of live performances. This intense focus would lead to his most ambitious and ultimately groundbreaking work, Pet Sounds, released in 1966. It was a radical departure from the Beach Boys' established sound. Lush, deeply introspective, and grandly orchestral, yet maintaining an intimate vulnerability. With an unprecedented array of instruments, including harps, the ethereal theremin, the whimsical clatter of bicycle bells, and a tightly conducted 35-piece ensemble, Brian meticulously sculpted a record that explored the universal themes of adolescence, the daunting transition into adulthood, and everything in between. Songs like the transcendent God Only Knows, the wistful Wouldn't It Be Nice, and the haunting Caroline No were not merely catchy tunes. They were poetic meditations, emotionally raw confessions, and sonically revolutionary statements that redefined what was possible within the confines of a pop song. Pet Sounds didn't immediately dominate the commercial charts in the way his earlier, more straightforward hits had, but its impact on the landscape of popular music was profound and undeniable. It changed music forever, sending ripples across the industry that would reverberate for decades. Its influence spread quickly, especially among his peers. John Lennon famously declared it his favorite album of all time, a testament to its innovative spirit and emotional depth. Paul McCartney later openly admitted that Pet Sounds served as a direct inspiration for much of the Beatles' seminal Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, elevating the bar for what a pop album could achieve. Brian Wilson had, with this single audacious creation, shown the world that pop music could be as emotionally profound, artistically complex, and intellectually stimulating as classical compositions or sophisticated jazz arrangements, shattering preconceived notions about the genre's limitations. He proved that a simple 3-minute song could contain multitudes, a depth of feeling and complexity previously reserved for other art forms. Behind the brilliance, however, things were unraveling with tragic intensity. Brian, quiet and introspective by nature, struggled with severe anxiety and escalating mental health issues. The immense pressure of creative genius, coupled with the relentless demands of the music industry and underlying personal vulnerabilities, began to manifest in debilitating ways. He experienced panic attacks in the studio, the very space where he found his greatest solace and expression, and wrestled with prolonged episodes of deep depression. His perfectionism, once a driving force, became a paralyzing obsession, often keeping him bedridden for weeks, fixated on songwriting, lost in sheets of music and longing for an escape from his own tormented mind. In 1965, he experienced a nervous breakdown, a pivotal moment that marked a deeper descent into mental illness. Following this, he became increasingly reliant on medication and, controversially, on the guidance of psychotherapist Dr. Eugene Landy. The treatments prescribed by Landy were highly invasive, ethically suspect, and often bordering on manipulative, designed to exert almost total control over Brian's life and creative output. While these unorthodox methods did, at times, paradoxically produce new music, most notably the ambitious but deeply troubled double album, Smile, the personal cost for Brian was staggeringly heavy, leaving him further isolated and vulnerable. Smile, the intended follow-up to Pet Sounds, was tragically shelved in 1967, becoming rock's greatest lost album, a mythical masterpiece whispered about by fans and critics for decades. Brian himself largely dropped out of the spotlight entirely in late 1966, retreating from public life and the pressures of the music industry. The Beach Boys, meanwhile, continued without him at the helm, a testament to their enduring popularity and brand. The band still generated hits, like the iconic Sir, Good Vibrations, the intricate Heroes and Villains, and the nostalgic Do It Again. But something essential had changed. The carefree, sun-drenched spirit of their early days was irrevocably gone. The harmonies, while still beautiful, now carried a profound weight, a melancholic ache that reflected Brian's absence and the deepening struggles within the group. The sense of boundless optimism that had once defined their sound was replaced by a more nuanced, often bittersweet, emotional landscape. For much of the 1970s and early 80s, Brian lived quietly, largely disconnected from the band and wrestling intensely with his debilitating mental illness and the controlling influence of Dr. Landy. He rarely spoke publicly, his voice dimmed by the shadows of his internal battles. But in 1988, a glimmer of hope emerged as he remarkably resurfaced with his solo debut album, which included the poignant and profoundly moving track, Love and Mercy. This song was more than just a musical offering. It was a deeply personal plea for kindness, compassion, and human connection, a reflection of his own yearning for healing and understanding. This album marked the painstaking beginning of a slow, arduous process of rebuilding a life and a career that had been utterly shattered by years of illness and manipulation. he slowly began to re-engage with music, eventually touring again, even rejoining the Beach Boys for various performances, and most significantly, he started working on Smile once more, a project that had haunted him for decades. In 2004, Brian finally returned to Smile, releasing Brian Wilson Presents Smile and performing the album live for the first time, nearly 4 decades after its original inception. It was more than just the completion of a long-delayed musical project. It was a powerful act of redemption, not only for the canceled 1967 masterpiece, but more importantly, for his own spirit. Songs like the whimsical Vega Tables, the epic Heroes and Villains, and a reimagined Good Vibrations felt like a triumphant declaration, a profound victory over the mental storms that had raged within him for so many years. The critical acclaim and audience reception for this resurrected work were overwhelming, a testament to its enduring genius and the emotional resonance it still carried. This period marked a profound renaissance for Brian, allowing him to reclaim his artistic narrative and present his magnum opus to the world on his own terms. Following this monumental triumph, Brian continued to perform, record new material, and collaborate with a diverse array of contemporary artists. His voice, once fragile and uncertain, gained gravitas, imbued with the wisdom and resilience earned through decades of struggle. His influence, already foundational, spread across new generations and genres. He wrote new music with artists like the experimental Beck and even publicly endorsed contemporary acts like Animal Collective, lending a powerful stamp of legitimacy and cross-generational appeal. In 2012, he released That Lucky Old Sun, a heartfelt song cycle that explored the complex landscape of an American life, delving into themes of memory, regret, and enduring hope. He followed it with No Peer Pressure, a collaborative album featuring a fascinating array of guest stars, including the enigmatic Lana Del Rey and his longtime visionary co-writer, Van Dyke Parks, further cementing his status as a living legend still capable of innovation. His extraordinary body of work earned him multiple Grammy Awards, a prestigious Kennedy Center honor, induction into the highly revered Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the profound respect of his peers, protégés, and legions of devoted fans across the globe. But for Brian, the greatest reward was always the music itself, the elusive, emotional truth captured in a melody, a chord progression, or a vocal harmony, expressed by a voice once so uncertain, but now clear and resonant. The accolades were secondary to the pure joy of creation and the profound impact his music had on listeners. As Renard, Summer's Poet Laureate, a title often bestowed upon him, he carved a unique niche in the pop music landscape. He never explicitly sang about conventional heartbreak or overt romantic conflicts, preferring instead to explore the subtler, more universal human experiences. He sang about longing for connection, for understanding, for lost innocence, about the complexities of love, the ephemeral beauty of light, and the often contradictory emotions of growing up. He crafted a sonic space that felt simultaneously timeless and filled with an almost childlike hope. In interviews often delivered with his characteristic shyness, he frequently reflected on the profound, almost spiritual joy he found in his creative flow. The quiet, solitary moments in the studio, when disparate chords would miraculously align, when melodies would unfold with a natural grace, and when something almost mystical would emerge from the depths of his imagination, transforming sound into pure emotion. Brian's personal life also found a measure of stability and profound love. He married Melinda Ledbetter in 1995, a relationship that proved to be a turning point in his life. Melinda, who also became his astute business manager, played an instrumental role in helping him emerge from the insidious, controlling influence of Dr. Landy, extricating him from a manipulative and unhealthy dependency. She stood by him through numerous personal crises, providing unwavering support, helping him find healthy, collaborative relationships, and most importantly, empowering him to regain control over his own life and decisions. Together, they built a family, raising 2 children, and lived a life that, while deeply rooted in music, was fundamentally anchored in love, stability, and mutual respect. offering him a sanctuary from the storms that had previously defined so much of his existence. In 2016, at an age when many artists have long retired, he embarked on an ambitious tour performing Pet Sounds live with symphony orchestras, a testament to the album's orchestral ambition and enduring power. This series of performances proved definitively that the fragile masterpiece, born of so much personal turmoil, had not lost a single bit of its emotional power or its innovative brilliance. He toured internationally, always humble, occasionally shy, but ever present in his unwavering commitment to melody and the purity of his artistic vision. These tours were a celebration of his life's work, allowing new generations to experience the magic of Pet Sounds in a live symphonic setting, a fitting tribute to its timeless quality. Brian Wilson's passing at 82 brings to a close a life that was both remarkably quiet and explosively creative, a life filled with the most tender emotions and moments of intense, almost supernatural musical invention. He might have been a humble, soft-spoken man in person, but his musical legacy is vast, immeasurable, and utterly profound. Nearly every major artist who cared deeply about songwriting across the spectrum of rock, pop, and indie music heard Pet Sounds, heard Brian's singular voice, heard the revolutionary way he structured emotion into sound, and consequently felt compelled to try to reach for that same profound level of artistic expression themselves. His influence is woven into the very fabric of popular music. His genius lay not simply in his mastery of vocal harmony or his uncanny ability to craft irresistibly catchy hooks, but in an unparalleled ability to create profound emotional resonance by weaving together seemingly disparate elements of simplicity and sophistication. That was his unique, extraordinary gift to the world. In thousands of performances, across dozens of groundbreaking records, and through moments of profound vulnerability and soaring triumph, he showed the world that summer could be something far more than just a season of fun. It could be a deep, resonant season of hope, quiet reflection, and deeply felt emotion. His music became a universal language, transcending mere entertainment to touch the soul. As we look back on his life, we remember a soft-spoken man who spoke through music louder than words ever could. We remember the shy boy listening intently to records in Hawthorne, patiently dissecting sounds, the boundless creative force behind the Beach Boys, who single-handedly reshaped the landscape of pop music, the fragile genius who almost retreated entirely from the world, only to stage a miraculous comeback, and finally the elder statesman who offered both mercy in his music and grace in his quiet, dignified presence. His journey was a testament to the human spirit's capacity to overcome immense challenges and to find redemption through art. The sun sets on Brian Wilson's beautiful dream, but the harmonies will echo forever, a lasting testament to a musical visionary who found his voice through the universal language of melody and emotion.